Following some breaking news in DeKalb County, bond denied for a self-professed cult leader. Eligio Bishop, also known as Nature Boys. Neighbors tell 11 Alive they're stunned by the allegations, but are even more surprised by what this group was posting online.
Its social accounts reaching tens of thousands of people on Instagram and YouTube. Joe Ripley, live outside the DeKalb County Police Department. And Joe, you got to speak to this group, the Carbon Nation?
Yeah, Carbon Nation, this is a group that says they abide by a different philosophy. Their leader, Eligio Bishop, appeared in court for the first time today since being arrested earlier this week at a DeKalb County home. And after a judge read out his warrants, his charges, he simply replied by saying, quote, outstanding. Neighbors there in that DeKalb County community are concerned tonight.
Mr. Bishop, good afternoon, sir.
Eligio Bishop saw a judge for the first time since his arrest earlier this week. His case now lies in the hands of Superior Court. DeKalb police arrested Bishop at this home in Decatur, charging him with rape, false imprisonment, and 3 counts of sexually explicit transmission.
He's extremely loving, extremely forgiving. Literally wouldn't hurt a fly.
This man, who goes by Captain Ace, says he's part of the group Carbon Nation. Ace calls Bishop the head of the international organization.
This is one of the most troubling experiences I've ever had. The man that most people refer to as Nature Boy, I refer to him as God. I believe that he is God.
Ace described Carbon Nation as a religious philosophy based on science, focused on living a life of principles and morals. He joined the group about 4 years ago, and now he and 13 others live at this home under the guidance of Bishop.
I met him online. That was my initial contact with him. I seen that he was teaching knowledge that was superior to any other scholar or any other leader that I had encountered at the time.
Neighbors like Patrick Henderson are concerned about Bishop's online presence. That's what police say tipped them off to the alleged crimes.
I mean, obviously something like that is concerning, especially when you have kids around. So it's just a matter of now doing the research, kind of digging in and finding out who is doing what and really understanding the totality of everything going on.
Henderson says he could not believe a reported cult was housed down the street from him, but Ace and others in the group say they're fighting that notion.
I would tell them to reassess their perspective.
And tonight the group says they are supporting Bishop still, financially, emotionally, doing whatever they can to help him out while he remains behind bars. And he will do so at the DeKalb County Jail until Superior Court sets another court date for him. And coming up at 6, we'll tell you more about his criminal history, Bishop's criminal history, as well as look into more about the Carbon Nation group.
He calls himself Bishop, Nature Boy, Christ. Those are just some of the aliases he's used over the past few years, all linked to his religious group with a history of problems in multiple countries.
He thinks he's not locked up, but we are in a state of hell.
This is video of 38-year-old Eligio Bishop posted on his YouTube channel, The 3 God TV. It has more than 90,000 subscribers, where he regularly refers to himself as the Messiah and the Christ.
I'm the return of Christ.
He's lived in Georgia on and off since at least 2006 and is a former licensed barber. For years, social media posts and news reports show he and his followers bounced around South America, including Costa Rica, Nicaragua, and Panama, adding content to his prolific social media activity on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok.
Because they keep calling the cops over here, and I'm tired of
We found hundreds of videos and posts, many laced with profanity and rants about the world.
being God is not cool.
In 2017, he was accused of keeping a Canadian woman as part of his followers in Costa Rica. Bishop told the Canadian CBC news outlet that the woman was free to leave at any time.
Outstanding.
He was sentenced to 90 days in jail, and then he and about 20 members of the group were forced out of Hawaii for breaking COVID-19 quarantine in 2020.
Isn't it funny the things that YouTube finds that are not suitable for people under the age of 18? Meanwhile, we see all these platforms being used to push out so much propaganda to influence these young and impressionable minds who just look at what's being put in front of them and never process what's really going on. Like I said 3 years ago, everybody just sitting back watching what's going on with Robert Kelly might need to calm down these opinions and pay attention to the actual facts. That way you won't be misguided by all the propaganda that has led you to believe the worst about an individual before he had his day in court. Especially when you see all these other individuals being glorified, giving all this access to these individuals to corrupt and coerce, imitate a lifestyle in which they don't fully understand. Yet at the end of the day, we know certain people can lead certain lifestyles and some can't. Just like we see these gangsters online implicating themselves. What do you think will happen when they realize the same thing applies to these quote-unquote pimps?
Yo, can I with you? What?
ACP, do you see this?
Look, if it ain't official Dana J, Levi for Kelly, Primadonnanews, I don't even want to see it. Just take the phone. Look, you got some weed? Dang. Gotta get some. All right, hurry up. Diesel, them here, everybody here. We waiting on you. All right.
I woke up like this. I woke up like this. We flawless.
Hello and welcome to my channel. Go ahead, hit the like, hit the share, subscribe if you haven't already. I thought I'd come back and give you a little more insight to the last video I dropped, as to some people who don't realize how this channel operates don't recognize that I put out information to provoke your thought. So I never gave you my personal opinion on Nature Boy specifically. I presented to you the origins of how I began to do my research and demonstrate the hypocrisy that we see playing out on these media platforms.
When it came to sex, it was sex to Robert, despite the age. If a girl was in a room and she had a big booty, she had a big booty. If she was 15 or 20, she had a big booty to him. Period.
Say there have been multiple accusations against you, against young women in Chicago, and they are concerned about your past, and that's impacting them from purchasing your music sales.
It doesn't matter who they are. If they hate me, they love me, they want to destroy me, whatever, I love them all. And I love you too.
You don't need to give me any of your love, sir.
Everybody.
You really don't need to give me your love. I just wanted to ask the question: what do you say to the fans, your fans who don't want to buy your music?
Yeah, I'm not going to allow you to do that, but I love you. I love you.
Okay, I have a video question for you from a fan. If you
video questions for me, because this interview is over.
Now, unless you're brain dead, it should be obvious why the initial allegations against Robert Kelly were far-fetched to some of us, and why we wanted to question why they shifted direction from an average person to a name to draw in the money, which, according to the author of Daddy's Little Freak, Surviving Daddy, and Behind the Mole, these are the things that sparked her interest to so-called infiltrate Robert Kelly's camp. So for some to miss that obvious point, even though all these people have had this same individual on their platform, this is why I can't take these people serious who have sat here for 3 years or even longer fueling these narratives that keep people bickering back and forth instead of pointing out the bullshit. My last video was not to talk about Nature Boy's guilt or innocent, nor to talk about whether I follow him or not. And truth be told, before he lost his damn mind on this damn internet, yes, I did watch his content. But clearly, there's a difference between the things we witnessed him put on these platforms and the specific charges that they brought against him. And we see how the government and these law officials are willing to trump up any type of charges in order to secure their target. Now, if you're not familiar with my content, the best thing you should do before you make assumptions is to look at the whole channel and realize that I stack my content so that I avoid being redundant, and you can go back and check what I previously said without letting slow people manipulate the point. Now, around this same time that I saw this BBC interview with Nature Boy and all these people drawing concern about the fact that he had some Caucasian individuals over there engaging in his bullshit, we saw them then switch over to R. Kelly and give us this facade that he also ran a cult. Now, let's look at Nature Boy's case and how they raided his whole facility and brought out his cult, right? Where is Robert Kelly's cult? We still have not seen it. Instead, we got all these janky ass people who wanted to set up these interviews on the internet, incite his fans to do the most, and then sit here and keep having people looking everywhere but at the paperwork so that you can recognize how they've been playing with you right in your face. The issue I have is, why are we allowing these people to manipulate the use of social media to legally prosecute individuals when, according to them, they have all this evidence to prove their guilt? Therefore, why do they need the public outcry to push their agendas? Now, clearly the method in which I observe these individuals shows you why I don't believe a lot of the nonsense we've been presented with. And clearly, I don't have to set up interviews with these janky ass people. I don't have to target these individuals clearly listed in the indictment. I don't have to link up with these individuals that have been blasted as enablers that have sat by and did this, and this, while all these people come out here and try to cover up all the fraudulent and shady business that the government failed to reel in with this racketeering case, meanwhile wanting to shift your direction toward these sexual abuse, bad act witnesses to avoid the fact that they don't have physical evidence. So that's where the circumstantial evidence come in. We get all these people to come and tell their stories. We put all this information on social media. We unveil all the so-called evidence. And then, while so many people are emotionally bothered and distracted by nonsense, we don't see that this so-called evidence that was used in trial appeared on social media. So that should be a big-ass red flag when I'm showing you things that should not be out here in the public display that have been used to turn the public against this man and deny him a fair trial as he should be afforded. Then you got people doing the most on Robert Kelly's behalf who are, as you read the paperwork, putting it all on him as though he's the one in charge, as the government has presented. So it should be very clear why a lot of these people feel some type of way about Prima. Because Prima don't spend her time on here trying to force you to believe what I believe. Instead, these people feel some type of way because they recognize that I watch all of these people. I screenshot the information that I feel is going to show you the corruption and bullshit, and I apply it as I see fit. And then you have people that want to so-called debunk what I show you and fail to realize I don't give a fuck. The things we see playing out on this internet is only affecting one individual sitting in jail. So with that being said, let's rewatch the last video if you missed all the images I put in your face. Because let me remind you, I'm not here to incite the public to do anything. I'm not here to aid in any of the negative narratives we've seen being pushed by these crash dummies. I'm here to put the information out there for you to do your own research and leave it at that. Unless you're on a jury pool, it's not your position to be sitting here judging whether a person is guilty or innocent or not. And that is another reason why a lot of these fools don't comprehend my content, because it's not for me to assume what's going on, but instead of trying to cover up what actually happened, it would make more sense to expose the bullshit these people were doing. So to wrap up this video, clearly Nature Boy has specific charges he can be charged with. And clearly we see his cult. So obviously my point in making the two a comparison is clearly if you do your research, instead of just running with what people tell you, you will see exactly what I've presented in your face.
Other YouTubers did, including the one that I built up. Including the one that I built up, that would nobody knew him or knew his channel if it wasn't for me. Because all they knew was a masked man. People must forgot all about all that. They forgot about all that. See, they didn't know him, all them lies they tell. They knew him because Angelo came on his channel and said, hey, this is where I'm at. So he was never a factor. So when people like that expose and lie and make themselves more important, you sit back and say, damn, all this for some YouTube likes. I would rather be acclimated with your family. That when your king going through something and he know he ain't got nobody to call, shit, Whitney call, let me call Lo and call me. I'm going to pick up that phone.
We did our job. We brought the information to the public. Surviving RKelly went off. We kept that shit going. We got bus drivers. We got police officers. We got assistants. We got friends. We got people to lie. We got the storage. We got motherfucking video, audio. We got the storage. We got motherfucking video, audio. You ever seen Asriel at my house? You ever seen parents at my house?
See now, you done fucked up. You know that, don't you? I see what I'm saying. I thought. No, so you know what I'm saying? You done fucked up now. You know that, don't you?
The more questions that cop asked, the more I thought I wasn't gonna never see daylight again.
This time you said you bought the bottle.
I was just waiting for them to tell me they seen that damn videotape, but they hadn't.
No, you done fucked up, don't you? No, it doesn't. No, you done fucked up.
Without the tape, they had nothing.
Okay, because I'm letting you know now. Well, I'll call you tomorrow.
Okay, I did want to tell you, to switch the 90 days out, but when you do switch them out, I do have a lot of stuff to talk to you about, really good stuff. What do you mean? We already talked about last week switching out the days. We've been talked about that, so why are you saying wow?
Yeah, because you hung up on me and called right to get to the building, and they called me to the floor to discuss the same thing I had already told you.
Sorry for you. No. Don't say nothing to me. Don't say nothing to me. Do not say anything to me. Joy is in jail for assault. So I feel so sorry for the both of you. Don't say anything other to me. I feel bad for you. I know, yes, you do. You knew I was coming up here to get Joy, and you lied to her. Yep. I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry for you, Bear. I'm sorry for you. I am so sorry for you. Oh, it's Bear. It's done. It's done, Bear. It's done. It's over. It's over. You may not even make it to trial. I'm so sorry for you. I'm sorry. I really did love you. And you lied to me, and you used me, and you played me. Yes, you did, Bear. Yes, you did, Bear. Bye.
You see